Greetings and welcome back to Jamaica Versed. I'm your host, Justice Joan, and it is my pleasure this morning to introduce you to a new feature we're incorporating into the program. This is the programs of promise, the people of promise. We are focusing on Jamaicans in yard and abroad who are doing projects that we feel are completely aligned with the direction in which Vision 2030 is headed. I'm speaking about people who are doing the kind of work that is going to make sure that Jamaica is the place to live, work, and raise our children in the future. Jamaica Verse listeners, please join me in welcoming Lyssa-Ann to the program. That's Miss Lyssa-Annclarke to the program. She is a prolific author, a woman of purpose, and she's here to share with us today on her most recent release, the Descendants program, and so much more. She's a wonderful human. Miss Lyssa-Ann, welcome so much and thank you for joining us on Jamaica Versed. How are you?
Thank you for having me, Justice. Thank you for having me. I am fine, thank you. And a pleasant good evening, good day, wherever you are across the world to your listeners.
Thank you so much. As you know, our Jamaica Versed family is as diverse as we are. We are here for Jamaicans by birth, ancestry, and choice. Any Jamaican interested in the positive movement of Jamaica. And so when we came across your work, we knew it was something that needed a spotlight. It was, as we're saying, this need crowd. Miss Lyssa-Annclarke, can you please share with our listeners what the Descendants and Visioneers series are and why you created them?
Oh, sure. Thank you so much. Well, the Visioneers series are actually 3 books, history and tourism related books, highlighting the rich American abolitionist history of some Jamaican communities and institutions that is actually unknown because records were not available in Jamaica. Now, the research began in an effort to find in the established date of the Oberlin complex with my former alma mater, high school in Lawrence Tavern, St. Andrew, and the Native Baptist Church in Salisbury Plain District in St. Andrew, where I worship. And let me tell you something, Justice, this led me on a journey uncovering historical treasures and connecting abolitionist heroes known worldwide, and who were being influential to Jamaica in the 1800s to the 1900s. People like Charles Finney, Theodore Weld, Henry Garnet, Samuel Ringgold Ward, Julius Beardsley, and many, many more. I was really shocked because this information was not being taught, not even in our high school that was founded by these heroes who are celebrated in the United States. Okay, even Joseph Sturge, Sister Sophia Sturge, aided in the development of our institution. So it was very, very exciting, and I got to learn more about our own local hero, George William Gordon. Some stories that weren't taught in our schools, what I consider important for us to know. I documented it in our book, including women who are leaders. Some were highlighted. And then the Descendants book now, that is my new release. That actually began as I wanted to recognize my grandmother she's 98 this year, right? So I just wanted to do something to honor her and to note some of her memories, some of the things that she told us. And I said, okay, let me do a family tree. This is how this book started off, as a family tree, trying to connect the Satchels in Swain Spring, the plantocracy, to those who are in Padmore and the Descendants who are in Salisbury Plain. And this led me to St. Mary, led me to Above Rock, to Almond Hill, to Rock Hall, to Red Hill, so many communities. This turned out into a book that included even Glengarth. So you imagine that. So many communities, Cavaliers. And I realized that Jamaica has a rich history and hidden treasures in its people, in its culture, in its rivers, things that are overlooked, such as the semi-precious stones, quartzite and pyrite that is in our communities that people don't know. And I believe that if we combine these resources along with our historical churches, that a lot can come out of it that can aid Vision 2030. So you see, these books, I believe, could create value for our communities and our ancestry. And in the research, it actually led me to a group that was created in the UK of Satchel and Satchwell ancestry and descendants, and a wealth of information that led me to my great 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 grandmother and where the planters came from. And it was just pure excitement. We had a virtual reunion last year, August 1, online. And we hope that this year we can have many, more persons involved from the various communities to celebrate our rich ancestry. My heart aches for
Listen,
the community. Yes, Justice. Go
no, no,
ahead.
no. I hear your enthusiasm and you're bubbling forth, and I don't want to stop you because it's an enthusiasm that I share. You've just
Hmm.
released so much information though that I don't want some of this to be lost on our listeners, because what I'm really gathering from you is more than anything that this
Hmm.
was a personal journey, or that this journey was inspired for very personal
Yes,
reasons. But in it, you
yes,
were able to learn so much that you see has national significance.
yes,
Not just that the history is old stories, but it's almost hidden value. History
yes,
equals hidden value. Is that what
yes.
I'm getting from you?
Most definitely hidden value in communities that are underlooked, overlooked, underserved, poor, agricultural societies. These communities were mostly farming communities and they have been neglected. And I see where instead of persons migrating to Kingston to work, where we can rebuild our communities. It's very personal for me because not only have I worked in Kingston, but I work in the community as well. I taught entrepreneurship and IT and business in the community. And when they closed down the training center, it affected many communities, many students. And I don't believe that our representatives really understand just how significant that heart attack institution was to the location. And it's just like what happened with the 4-H club. That that also closed down. The factories got closed down as well. And for the last 30 years, I would say that our communities have regressed. So I believe that instead of waiting on the government to do everything, that residents should use what they have
What
at
they
their
have to read
fingertips.
to move forward.
Yes, to
But
move
listen,
forward, to renew and restore the community. Yes.
listen, would you say that, what you have done, I'm sure it was a very labor intensive process to put these books together, not just to write them. And I applaud you as the creator that you are in that. We're at Jamaica Verse, we're always encouraging persons to get creative and to release their creative thoughts and put them into physical means. So a lot of people have ideas. You actually went through the steps of doing the research and putting these stories together. And this is not something that you are being paid to do. So to look into your
No.
own history and self, do you think that's a version of loving yourself? This question might have come out of anywhere. But I'm wondering if it is that in Jamaica we're not focused on our story because we also have an issue with love of self and love of who we are as a people.
We do, even in doing the research, I realized that some persons were ashamed or are still ashamed of their past. And they don't want to share this information. They don't want to be associated with certain names or anything they may consider negative. But I want to encourage persons to don't look on your past in a negative way. It's an opportunity for you to do a lot of assessments and to even love yourself. God is love. And as a spiritual leader, this to me was also an assignment I got to help our community to heal. And the just are delivered through knowledge. So I believe if we get this information, we'll be able to have a better appreciation of where we're coming from, where
And
we're
where
going,
we're
and able
going.
to love ourselves and our families for who we are and the things that we cannot control. We'll have greater empathy and unite to build our communities. We need it and we can't be just looking outside. We have to look inwardly for what we need. The
I
help
love
that we
that.
need,
We
yes.
have to look inwardly. I want to shift, Lisa, to the tools that
Hmm.
you created, because I highlighted, of course, that you went on what was, I'm sure, a difficult journey to piece this story together. But in both Descendants and in your earlier work, Purpose, you've actually created tools that the readers can use to be able to go on these journeys in a simpler way. You've saved us some of your learning headaches and some of your troubles. Can you speak to what those two tools are in the time we have?
Well, in purpose, a blueprint to creating to fulfilling God's plans for your life, I created a course, and that's a self-paced course available online on Thinkific. you can email me at biscoachja@gmail.com for more information on the course. I also have a podcast, the podcast series. We begin our third season next week, Thursday at 9 p.m. on YouTube, it's actually on YouTube and on Anchor. So you can subscribe to Holistic Healing Ministries Jamaica and the Purpose Show on Anchor, and you'll be able to see our past streams as well as who's come. This season we'll be interviewing persons from the virtual book tour and some other special guests on our show. For Descendants, though, I have created a page where I want to create a database to have a virtual museum. I want to do virtual tours of communities. I want us to put together more family trees because one book could not contain all the information. It was just a whole lot. The research was a lot. And I will have to continue the series. So I want persons, not just Patel Lynch Leslie's, but persons to start doing their own family tree, looking into their research, and there's an avenue for you to do that. I can help you with the information and link available. Go to Facebook and search for the group called Jamaican Descendants. Okay? And once you join that page, we'll be able to communicate and start from there with building our own archive.
This is what we love. Jamaica Verse is always about sharing resources and ways that people can empower themselves. So I love that. Listeners, if you're hearing her, head to Jamaican Descendants. That's the page on Facebook. Of course, as she has mentioned, Purpose is available with the tools inside the self-paced course that you can actually access to help you to figure out your life's path and the ways in which you're headed. And then there's the Descendants tools, which she will accompany or support you in doing the search to find out your own family history, because knowledge of self also is knowledge of ancestors and how you came here. That's what I'm really getting from you, Lyssa, and the journey that you've gone through. Before you go, I just want to switch paths a little bit, because Jamaica Verse, as I mentioned, we're about connecting Jamaicans in yard and abroad. And the work that Vision 2030 is geared at is something that all of us have to be actively involved in. So with what you're doing, there's the upcoming Jamaica Diaspora Conference. We'll actually be interviewing a representative from the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council later on in the show, Ms. Stephanie Larty. I'm wondering if you have considered working with the diaspora to move some of your objectives forward. I know you've spoken about branching out into community tourism projects and all of this. Do you see that the diaspora and local need to work together a little bit more to really achieve Vision 2030? And how does this play a part for what your activities look like in the year ahead?
Definitely, most definitely. There are many in diaspora whose parents were born in Jamaica and they want to contribute. They want to connect. I am open and available for the linkages. The thing is, most of us don't know where to connect. So I am open to connect. I am for Jamaica. I'm a Jamaican and I want to represent my community. So even with the launch last week, I had a member of the diaspora from Dubai who spoke on the importance of the type of work that I'm doing, such as Rights and Descendants, and how it could help the diaspora. There's even a page that highlights diaspora members who are from those communities highlighted in the Descendants book tour in the United States and so forth. So we must connect, and I'm so happy even for Dr. Larty, who you'll be interviewing, because Jamaicans and diaspora need to know what is happening and how we are impacting the world and representing Jamaica in a really proud way. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Listen, before we go, I want to just thank you once again for the work that you have done, for the resources you have created for all of us to be able to reconnect with our roots in a deeper way. And really just to encourage you to stay connected at Jamaica Verse. If we can support what you're doing in any way, we want to be a part of that journey. So please stick and stay with our journey through Vision 2030. And we look forward to seeing where the Visioneers project evolves to and how we can stay connected with that as well.
Thank you so much. We need to, because ignorance, limited resources, insufficient funding, so much has affected the nation's development. And Vision 2030 is not just for the government, it's for the people to buy into this project. We are the people, and Vision 2030 is for us. So we have to see how we can help our community to develop through the resources that we have. We are the resource that the country needs so that Jamaica can be a better place to live, to grow, and to raise families.
Ashe, absolutely. On that note, listeners, this has been Lyssa-Annclarke, author of the Visioneers series, recently released Descendants book, all of which are available. She has given us her contacts to stay connected. And as she has noted, this is our refrain that we'll head out on the break to. Vision 2030 is for all of us. It is for the people. And we'll be continuing our journey and our exploration of Vision 2030 here on Jamaica Verse, jumping back into the sports sector plan right after this break and a few tunes here on Best 100 FM, where we bring you better music, better vibes, and better views. Please stay tuned. I'm your host, Justice Joan. We'll be back right after this break.